is ascension. Lift up to a new dimension. This is ascension.
All right, hey, what's up, guys? So here we are doing another leg workout. Today we were supposed to have Ben Pekulski here. Something came up, Ben could not make it. So Jordan Shallows happens to be available right now, since he works at Pure Muscle Fitness. So he's gonna help us out today, try and bring you guys a little bit more education, different perspective on movements. So that's pretty cool. The style of training I'm doing, this is my second leg workout back from, post-show. So I'm gonna be starting to track my progress now. Basically I'm doing field sets, a couple field sets, and then one really hard set in each week. I'm gonna try and improve upon that, whether it's an extra rep, maybe it's a little more weight, maybe it's a rest pause or a drop set. So I've been doing that with my other body parts. I've been having really good success with that. I feel like I'm getting a lot bigger and fuller. I did this training like 8 years ago and I really, really enjoyed it. So today we're gonna be training with two of my clients, HD muscle athletes who I'm sure you guys know, Cody, Amy, and Val. And Val is 6 days out from the Amateur Olympia figure division, and Cody's 7 days out from Classic Physique at the Amateur Olympia. So their leg workout's gonna be a little bit different than mine, and we're not gonna be taking them anywhere sort of close to failure, because as you get close to a show, you wanna scale back the volume. Don't really push past failure, especially for legs, because if you are doing that with legs, it's gonna create a lot of inflammation, and we're trying to reduce the amount of inflammation in the legs right now. So they're tight, skin is thin, they're separated. So we're gonna bring you guys something different today. You're gonna see what a leg workout looks like for someone that's 1 week out or the last leg workout. And then Jordan Shallows is gonna be able to bring some value and show us some different sort of tips and tricks. So let's go. There's a proper way to actually execute the gluteator, and to make sure you take the TFL a little bit, is like stack your core a little bit, so like go over it a little bit, and neutral spine, because he says a lot of people when they do it end up pushing here and leaning back, and they do too much weight, and their TFLs are getting tight. The way this was designed for athletes. So like the Pittsburgh Steelers have it, a lot of the teams have it, and it's designed just to like really, really isolate the glutes and have you set up for like if you're going into other movements, your glutes are firing.
As a general principle, you want your rib cage stacked over your pelvis whenever you're training glutes. Like every time I see someone doing this thing, it's just like it's adductors all day. You can squeeze your butt doing anything. Like, I'm squeezing my butt right now. Yeah. But it's not a glute work.
It's funny because when I do stiff like deadlifts, and I think I've showed you before, I really stack my ribs down, and when I pull up, I get a crazy contraction in my glutes, like isolated.
It's that or
low back and abductors.
Yeah. Like look at JP, right? Like I always talk about like Jordan Peters adductors because he does such heavy stiff leg deadlifts. Right? And he's doing it on purpose. Like there's no like his legs are together.
No gap.
No, one leg.
Crazy.
Like on Sunday, like when I was like vlogging myself, and I just go right away to like yesterday,
Big
and my face just like disappeared.
Yeah,
like,
Val was she loves salt, so I wasn't clear, and I thought I told her a quarter teaspoon per meal, and before that she was like, oh, I'm using much more than that, and I was like, oh, it's okay, but start using a quarter teaspoon, and she thought I meant it was okay that what she was using, and I think you were probably using like a full teaspoon.
Yeah, like I was legit, like when I eat my meal, I just like put real salt plus the crank. Like I was actually mixing the two.
She was using Himalayan pink salt, Redmond real salt, and like every couple bites she was just putting more on because she loves the flavor. So as soon as we cut it, I told Rachel, I was like, oh my gosh, watch Val. She's gonna drop like 3 pounds and her face is gonna, and sure enough, in 24 hours, her face.
Yeah, like more than 4 pounds.
Yeah. Crazy.
But I can't even taste salt anymore though.
Yeah, she puts a quarter teaspoon on it and it tastes bland. She's like, there's no salt on this.
Oh,
which is quite a bit. What I'm trying to focus on when I do lunges is where I'm lacking is in my side shots. Okay. My glute ham tie-in. I have a hard time at contracting.
Can we take a minute real quick, Laura? For the bodybuilding world, hi, it's Jordan here. Longer strides don't mean more glute. Stop.
I know, you know.
You're hurting me. So shortening the stride loads more through hip flexion extension. So like shorter strides with you, we'll think about what we talked about over there. Straight bar for you, maybe for you depending on if holding dumbbells is like you might be super strong, but right now you might be fatigued to hold. One of the signs that you're incurring central nervous system fatigue is grip strength goes down. So shorter strides, narrower strides, more active hip extension. Like this is hip extension, but it's not loaded, right? But if I shorten, I'm gonna get a greater angle here under load, right? Rather than just going here.
Yeah, I never felt good with long
No, no.
Never.
And your quads are just gonna wanna take it. Yeah. So that's probably more of a quad dominant move for most people. So we'll start 2 rounds body weight and then we'll move into probably straight bar loaded after that.
Does it make sense? If you do a straight bar, whatever makes sense to do, hold it in the front, like a front squat?
It can, but it's gonna set the rate limiter to likely like your core strength in your front rack rather than your hip. Because your hip is way stronger than your ability to load like this, even like single leg. Yeah. So it's like, I would probably just throw it on your back and try and sit more into the hip. With the back loaded position, because everyone always cues chest up for lunges, that'll throw it into your adductors. Same thing with the gluteator, right? Like stay stacked. So let your torso like hinge forward a little bit as you step. So it's almost like your shin angle and your torso angle should match, right? So we're not gonna have a crazy aggressive shin angle, so we don't have to be super far forward, but we don't wanna have this and this. We don't wanna have this and this, right? So those matching means like your center of mass is over your midfoot.
We'll try to fucking bar it over the head and ears.
Test that shoulder mobility.
Fucking mobility. Holy fuck.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Ready for this?
Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
That's the thumbnail cover right there.
Look at that.
Uh-oh.
Right with his hand behind his back.
Oh, jeez.
How are you feeling?
Feeling okay.
Yeah?
I mean, if I don't lie, I'm feeling pretty dead. But that's what it is. I'm actually pretty excited. 6th day, we're gonna leave soon. So I'm really happy and confident in what we bring, like what we're gonna bring. So yeah, it's nothing but positive moving on to Orlando.
Before the workout, on the way over, high day today, weak body part, legs. So on the way over, I had 2 scoops of Elite, and I mixed that with unflavored Carb HD and 5 grams of Crave here. So I do that like 15 minutes before my workout. It's loaded. And then during my workout, I have 50 grams of Carb HD, 15 grams of EAAs, and a 1/4 teaspoon of Redmond real salt, and I'll finish this about 3/4 of the way through the workout. Maybe I will try them and just really taste it. No? Don't bother? It's not worth it? Yeah.
It's already, you already have it in your head, right? Like, pain's 3 things, right? Like, it's a perception, it's emotion, it's a drive state. It's like, we can fuck with the perception, but if there's an emotional attachment to being negative, get it out. Think of this like a teeter-totter. Like this is going like this. Try and when you set, do this, have your ribs down, and then pull up like this. Rather than being here, being there, start with like your abs crunch, and then pull your ribs down. It's like you're like smushing your ribs so you keep your chest down. Like do a crunch, now relax, and now pull your elbows down. Yeah, there. And stay set there. Yeah, there.
You guys can see my ribs are stacked, they're almost protracting. With my herniated disc, it's really important in a lot of movements that I keep that form, crunch down on the abs, because if I do this, I arc my back, it compresses my discs and it can just create a lot of injury. That's why I tend to stay away from lying hamstring curls, because I have a tendency on there to get out of this position, arc my back really hard, and swing the weight back, and I've just hurt myself so many times. So Jordan was the first one to show me, these manipulations, and I've been able to connect really well with my hamstrings and protect my back and stay injury free. So it's all good. Challenge set, whatever you want to call it, working set. But again, I have to be very careful with my back. So form is very important, and to make it even harder, I'll probably be holding the contraction, isolating the hamstrings. Cody, get a spot. Let's go 3 more. In the heels, in the heels. Lots of control. 2 more. Oh, that's done. Oh, it was heavier than I expected. Felt good though. But I mean, I could sit there and use my body and reef on it. Which, hey, for some people it might be okay because they don't have an injury. They can throw a little body language into it. But, like I was talking about in my other video where I went through all the exercises I've been doing to protect my lower back, I have to be very careful with some exercises, this being one of them. So just because you see me doing it this way doesn't mean that everyone has to do it this way or it's best for you. But if you do have a herniated disc, Ball's disc, I think that's something that could help you guys. So yeah, with movement selection, I actually usually start with pendulum and do swing squat and then hack squats, or like change the order around. Today Jordan wanted to start with the hack squats. Is there a reason for exercise selection in a specific order?
Yeah, I mean, my thought with this is, a pendulum or like a swing is going to alleviate the tension at the bottom, which can be good, but I feel like it's a tool that's often overutilized a lot in bodybuilding. Like we see the reverse band hack squat, the pendulum squat with the knee wrap.
I hate reverse bands.
Too much alleviation.
Anything that takes tension off the bottom.
Right. So a pendulum squat will do that by the nature of the pendulum, itself. Right? So you have more horizontal movement at the bottom. So the idea is if we're just kind of pre-exhausted, we have blood in our hamstrings, they're probably a secondary mover in our lunges or a primary mover in our hamstring curls. That's going to give us a bit of a cushion in deeper knee flexion.
Okay.
Right? So rather than just drastically alleviating that moment at the deeper knee flexion, it's we're getting a little bit of a mechanical buffer by doing 2 more hamstring posterior chain focus exercises before.
Yep.
So rather than having this full alleviation of the pendulum swinging down and alleviating.
Yeah, it's a benefit because the hamstrings already have a lot of blood in them, and at the bottom of the movement where you're on a heavy load like a hack squat, I kind of look at it when I train arms, I like to have blood in my biceps and I'm pumping my biceps when I go do triceps, because I feel like it has a little cushion.
Exactly.
And it's just so
and we get that cushion when we do pendulum and when we do reverse band stuff, but that cushion decreases overall tension, and ultimately load and tension is what grows muscle.
Yeah.
So this will allow us to work closer to our actual potential of our quads without swinging too far in the other direction and alleviating too much tension by using a swing or a pendulum or reverse band.
Yeah, very cool. 3 reasons why I like this Atlantis hack squat. First would be the adjustability of the foot pad. Love that. Love the original bearings that it's on. A lot of these new hack squats, if you look over here, they're actually on sliders on these wheels. So I prefer the way the bearings and rods sort of feel here. And the base, the back pad on the base of this one, or just the angle, it's a nice big back pad. Press your neck against it. Even the head position is slightly forward. So for me, when I stack my ribs, my head is just pushed a little bit forward, which kind of trains me to stay a little bit over it. And just the angle, the degree that it's on, it really is my favorite hack squat. The generation 2, I mean, they're all good, but for me, I feel like this one fits my body, my mechanics the best. We have the 2nd generation, we have the 3rd generation. So the 2nd generation's good. It's a little tighter though. It's the shoulder pads are closer to your head. It's a little bit of a smaller unit. Keep growing. Look at those fucking hammies. Come on, man. Right. Hard. Good job. Come on. Some weight. Some weight. All right.
Let's get into it.
Ooh. Okay. Lots of food in me here. Come on.
Come on, shuttle it. Let's go.
Stop! Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Come on.
Easy. Come on.
Go, 2 more.
Easy. Let's go. Come on. Long in that lockout. Let's go. No.
One more.
Keep your speed out. Let's go. Try.
That's good. Wow. Oh, that's heavy. Oh, feels good. Next exercise, we are doing the Cybex squat press. Yeah, this movement here, I feel like it's a different range. Kind of brings in the hamstrings, the abductors. Our quads are pretty fried right now from the hack squats. So we're gonna work with this movement here. I'm gonna work up to a weight where I can get failure for probably around 12. These guys again are gonna just take it about 80%.
So far though, how's the workout going?
So far the workout's great. You know, working out with Jordan, it just gives you like sort of reminders, things that I might already know that, you know, it's just like sort of a good refresher. So yeah, it's been good. You know, it's been good so far. It's I always enjoy working with people that come from different walks of life, or you know, they know more than you do, what they specialize in, and then you take bits and pieces from, you know, everyone you've worked with, and you can find the perfect formula that works for you. You know, that's what I do with my coaching. You know,
That's amazing.
for the last 15 years, working with different coaches and gurus in the industry, Hani Rambach, Chris Aceto, George Farah, Neil Hill, Milos, all these guys I worked with, which then made me sort of figure out, hey, what did I like from him? What did I like from him? And I have all this experience now of like problem solving with clients because I know 10, 12, 15 different ways, because there is no one way, one size fits all when it comes to bodybuilding, whether it's nutrition, whether it's training, whether it's, so you gotta find what works for you. Fucking dorsiflexion is a problem sometimes.
Push to the inside of your foot.
Inside?
Yeah. Like keep the knees in a little bit. Push through here. When you get to the bottom, push through here. There you go. It'll allow you to get a little bit more range. Those knees in a bit. That's it. Good one.
And I should be stopping as soon as my butt lifts, right? Don't overstretch it.
I mean, you're stabilized externally, but really trying to anchor yourself in the seat.
So if I'm locked in, can I allow my glutes to come off the pad?
I wouldn't. It's just dispersing the load in your adductors a little bit too much.
Yeah, right
So
there.
that's what you're going for, fine. But really try and pull yourself into the seat so that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Way down.
Competition, you gon' get buried. I don't cheat on the game, we get married. They gon' know me as legendary. When it stands, I ain't need no commentary. Ain't no option, ain't no secondary. I just throw it up like a Hail Mary. Legendary.
Come on.
That starts now. Let's go.
Reach about it for to put it all down, all down. Money where your mouth is, so your mouth is running off now. You a real G, just to move it. Legend has it, everybody here just think you stupid. Get up on my left, keep the candle. Try standing on your tippy toes. Question is, you hold up to the hype still? This day, stay sleeping on your NyQuil. Hey, big skill, I brought it. I don't flex nuts, I got it. competition, you gon' get buried. I don't cheat on the thing, we get married. Nigga, is legendary. You get stands, I don't need a commentary. And the option ain't a secondary. I just throw it up like a Hail Mary.
Jordan, so we both noticed, like, you know, playing around with the back pad, adjusting it. I like the feeling of it better on the quad, with it pushed more forward and being more over top and stacking, right? I noticed some people prefer the back pad further back, almost like they're lying down, they're way back there, where it also, like for me, I almost like when my knee is a little bit over, where some people like their knees like back here. What is the major difference, and why would someone?
So I think I understand the question. The purpose of this exercise is to train the quad in the fully shortened position. So the quad, 4 muscles, right? Intermedius lateralis, rectus femoris, and VMO. So those 4 muscles, one of them crosses the hip. The rec fem crosses the hip. So 4 or 3 quad muscles just extend the knee. The 4th one extends the knee and flexes the hip. So to get the quad fully short, you have to be in knee extension and hip flexion. This keeps us in hip flexion. So it's like when we're sat in on a quad extension, we want to think the point of this movement is to create like a meaningful stimulus in a fully shortened quad. So if we're back here, we're going into hip extension. That's not getting the quad fully shortened, because the hips are extended, right?
You're stretching it essentially.
Right, but it's like if you want to lengthen the quad, you gotta get your fucking hip behind you, right?
Just do a stretch.
Yeah, you gotta get your hip into extension. The quad gets short when your hip's in flexion. So it's like, well, let's double down on where this machine wins, and let's put our hip in flexion, right? So now my hip is flexed, and now my knee is flexed. Rather than back here where my hip's not as flexed anymore, my hip's starting to extend. Right? Well, it's like, well, you just do a different, do a fucking hack squat, or do a Bulgarian split squat or whatever. If you want to do a quad extension, do a quad extension and extend your knee with your hip flex.
Makes sense.
Right? So
that's cool. I think that's something good for people to understand about the leg extension.
Rib cage stacked over pelvis, pull your ass down to the seat. Because think, right? Like, you should look at every movement like an arc. I'm hijacking this, sorry. This is what happens. So there's like an arc that happens here, right? Where it's like in the early stages, there's a disproportionate amount of movement this way as opposed to this way. And at the late stages, where we're really getting into that shortened position, there's a disproportionate amount of movement this way, vertically, than there is horizontally, right? So it's like, well, this is the value proposition. I need to create a counterforce this way. So I really need to focus on pulling down. The more I can pull down here, the more I can push up there. It's just easily, it's like an elevator, it's counterforce, yes. So that's all the bodybuilding. The harder I pull here, physics dictates that I'll use these quads as a conduit.
You're going down.
So I've really focused on pulling myself down, not necessarily here, because it's going this way. Pulling down while this goes that way, it's useless. So as I get to the top, then it's really anchoring myself, pulling down, and allowing me my quads to strike.
That's cool. Hopefully that, you know, brings some clarity to you guys and makes sense, and you can, you know, try and apply that to your training.